Here I'm asked to describe the transformations and sketch the graphs of the following trig functions. So I'm going to describe the transformations first. So I have an a value which is negative, so the first thing that happens is there's a reflection over the x-axis and a stretch value by a factor of 2. And that's a vertical stretch. Then I have a k value, so I shift 3 units up. And then I have a b value here, which, if you remember, for cosine functions, changes the period. And when the way that it changes the period is it's really like a horizontal compression on this one here. So horizontal compression. And I like to say by a factor of 1/2. But if you said by a factor of 2, I think it's similar in the sense that if I say that it's a compression, we know we're kind of dividing it or making it smaller or closer together. So either way, I'm happy with. The way that I would actually graph this, though, is a little bit different. The first thing is there's no h value. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start off with finding the midline, which is at +3. And then I have my a value of 2, which is my amplitude. So I'm going to go up 2 units to 5 and down 2 units to 1. And that gives me my maximum and minimum. And then from there, we are going to start at the bottom because it is negative. Let's do this in pink. And then we also are going to use this to find our period. So our period is 2 pi over b. In this case, it's just pi. So if this is 0 and this is pi, then this is halfway is pi over 2. Halfway is pi over 4, which makes this 3 pi over 4. So we got bottom here, midline, top, back to the midline, and then back to the bottom. So my final kind of sketch of my graph here looks like this. And I know that it goes on forever to both directions, but that's just one period of my graph. Second one here, if we talk about the transformations, I'm going to scoot this over. So looks like I have a horizontal shift pi units to the right because it's subtraction. I have a vertical shift 1 unit down. And then I have an a value here, or a vertical stretch, by a factor of 3. And so my graph here, I'm going to go ahead and sketch my graph. So the first thing that I'm going to do is find the midline, which is at -1. My amplitude here at 3, so I'm going to go up 3, up to 2. Down 3 to -4. There's my minimum and maximum. And then I'm going to shift over pi units. And so let's say that this is pi right here. I know my period doesn't change from 2 pi because there's no b value. So that means that I'm going to end over here at 3 pi. I'm going to go 2 pi units to the right. So halfway between pi and 3 pi is 2 pi. And then halfway between this would be, I'm going to call it 3 pi over 2. And then 5 pi over 2. And again, these are just the halfway markers between each of my tick marks that I'm dealing with. So now from here, it's a positive sine function. So I'm going to start at the midline. Then I'm going to go up to the maximum, back to the midline, down to the minimum, and back to the midline. So my final graph sketch here in pink. And it goes on forever. So I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of show that it goes on forever. But that's the sketch of one period.